Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. In today's video, we're going to talk about Tableau interview experience of Capgemini. But before we get started, let us thank a subscriber who has shared her experience and her questions. So dear subscriber, thank you so much for sharing us your experience and your questions so that it can help all those and specifically to our community who are watching those videos. I encourage all of those who are actively looking for opportunities. Please share your experience or your interview questions so that it can be of some help to others who are watching this. Thank you once again. Let us get started, guys. So it all started with Naukri. She applied and she got a call, and after which uh, her interview was scheduled. Now the first and the foremost question that is being asked, if you observe like last 4 to 5 videos, this was the first question that was being asked in every interview. Explain you about yourself. So like I often stress in every video that I do, explain your about yourself is one very 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 important question. This is the area where there is a scope that interviewer can find out if you have genuinely worked or not. So don't fake it. But if it all, even if you are faking, make sure you are making sure your statements are perfect. Okay, so for that we have already made prepared a detailed video like how to answer. I'll post that link in the description box. Maybe you can answer, look at that video and prepare your story. Again, I suggest prepare your own book with these questions so that it can help you in your long run. Okay, it is not like about 1 day or 2 day, it is always going to help you. So write it down, take a day or 2 or 3, no matter, but prepare a pakka story. Like I always tell, you need to have a perfect answer for this perfect question, because we know it is a mandatory question that is going to come in every interview. So what things we need here? One, uh, so I'm just writing it here. What were your roles? Like what kind of work you have done, what kind of charts you have implemented, uh, all that you can include in your roles. Okay, and what is your project about? Okay, what were your learnings? If at all you want to talk about learnings, you can also tell that about learnings as well. What were the best practices you have followed? So all those you kind of points you can write it in your project description. And what is that you are trying to achieve with the implementation or development of project, and how many reports. Again, this is being asked regularly these days, so you can focus on this question and have a ready answer. How many reports have you created in your experience? This is one common question that is being asked regularly in interviews these days. So you can have one question, one answer prepared for this question. Okay, so when I say one report, okay, so one report can have n number of dashboards, and n number of dashboards can have n into m number of worksheets. Like each dashboard can have 3 to 4 worksheets. So like that, each there can be 3 to 4 dashboards in each workbook. So one workbook or one report is what the user is expecting here. Okay, so when you are answering, you can answer it that way. And again, while answering this also, you can categorize your reports as a daily report or weekly report or monthly report, based on how you want to categorize. So this way also you can categorize the number of reports that you have worked. Okay, so this is something that you need to focus when you are answering this first question. Okay, so prepare a story. Okay, always have an answer for this. So next question was like in a very generic question, like have you worked with SQL? If yes, rate yourself Okay, so depending on your comfort level, you can answer this. Like if you are good, you can rate it maybe 7 to 8. If you are average, you can rate it like 5 to 6. Yeah, based on your confidence level, you can answer this question. So he will know based on your understanding how much of SQL you know, and he is going to ask you with respect to that. So if you are rating yourself 10 out of 10, he is going to ask you all the complex questions, or complex joins and all. Yeah, that is second thing, very basic question. Again, third question, difference between data blending and the union. Okay, so this is something that is very important, and we can consume some time here while answering this question. So what we need to answer here? So first is, when do we go for a union? Okay, so what is the checklist here? So you need to talk about that. So in what kind of cases we will go for a union but not a join? Okay, so you need to answer that. So like say, assume I have file 1, I have file 2, and I have file 3. So to make a union on these 3 files, first thing is my structure of file should be same. Only one, only then the union is possible. So when I say same, like it should have employee name, employee salary, and department number. So this should be consistent across all of my 3 files. That is when I can union. Now you might also get one question, like when I suppose I have 10 records here. Okay, and I have 10 records here, and I have 10 records here. So when I do a union, how many records will I get? This can be one interview question. So comment down if you know the answer for this. If not, I'm going to pin the right answer for you. Okay, so the question here is, how many records can I get when I union all 3 files above? Okay, this is your question. If you know the answer, comment down. Let us see how many of us can get the right answer for this question. Very, very important. So this is just to check your understanding on the data blending or join and union concepts. So that is when these questions will be asked. So now union, this is union. What is data blending? Whenever we are getting one very generic answer that everyone gives when we ask about data blending is whenever we are getting data from different data sources, that is when data blending comes into picture. Okay, data blending comes into picture. Okay, so that is one. Now what is the difference between join and blend? Again, one question that is possible on data blending concept. So that's why I'm considering this question as well. Even this, if it is not asked, join and blend. So what is the difference? Okay, so when do you go for a join? When do you go for a blend? Can be your question. So joining, when we are getting data from multiple tables of same data source, we go for join. But when we are getting data from multiple data sources of different data types, data sources, that is when we go for blending. Okay, so I have made a detailed video on how blending works, which is very important for us to answer. So if you are an experienced guy like above 5 and you are trying to go for a senior role, I would suggest you to look that video, because most of sometimes they might ask detail about blending, like more about how blending works. So I'm going to paste that link in the description box. You can check it out. It is going to be very helpful whenever you are explaining these blending concepts. Okay, so here, if at all you are getting some questions related to data blending, union and join, I am expecting you guys to have at least 5 to 7 minutes in your explanation for this. Okay, and here If at all you are explaining this, explain about yourself. I'm expecting minimum you'll talk about yourself for 10 minutes. That is a minimum expectation. That is when you'll have a very good chance, in having a very big interview. So the more number of the lengthier the interviewer is getting, understand that the interviewer is getting confidence in you or is finding you interesting. That is why he's going to ask you so many questions. If the interview is being wrapped in a very less time, consider it as a no, because he clearly got you what you know and what you not. That's why make sure you are very confidently speaking about this first question. And if you are getting like some generic questions like this, take maximum time that you can. That way you are taking the consuming the time and talking about something that you know with confidence. Okay, so next is mm, here. So this was one scenario question that was asked. Write calculation for given data. So very simple calculation. Profit is equal to, like, calculate the profit. So sales minus expenditure, something like that. So again, this scenario based question, it is purely luck. We never know what kind of questions we might get. It all depends on the expertise of the interviewer who is taking your interview. Okay, so that is the reason I encourage all of those who are participating in interviews to share their questions, so that it can give us some idea of like how the scenario based questions are coming. Okay, so next is again, what is LOD? Again, this is, see, like always guys, remember, I'm going to write it top here. If you are being asked theoretical questions, I am suggesting, or I'm encouraging, or I'm advising you guys to take as much time as possible to answer. So I mean, like, you need to answer in detail, because theoretical explanation is very easy compared to writing logics. So now suppose if you have taken like 20 minutes here in the first one and 10 minutes here, so already 20 plus 10, 30 minutes of your interview is gone or completed. So that way we can play with the time as well. So that is also one very important factor while having the interviews. So now here, what is LOD? Now many fear like answering this question, what is LOD? Okay, so even if you don't know how to write logic for the LOD, you can simply explain what is LOD, like level of detail expression. Okay, and without stopping here self, here you can tell about that there are three types of LODs available, and you can explain each, the purpose of each, like fixed is there, include is there, and exclude is there. And what is this fixed, include, and exclude called? So these are called as scoping words. And LODs are written in flower brasses. And LODs, uh, for LOD we need to have a dimension and measure combination. So like this of combinations, like these points, you can answer well answering this type of theoretical questions. So that way interviewer will think that, okay, even though you have not used LOD in real time, you know the concept, and you can use it whenever you get a chance in real time. Okay, so that way you can at least try to answer this kind of questions. Again, very important here. Okay, next question is, presently is your role is client facing role? So this was the question that was asked. Again, very important question. Like generally recruiter will ask this question if it is a client facing role, because sometimes recruiter clearly get intimation that they want a candidate who has placed client, or sometimes the interviewer will ask. So what is the difference here? Okay, client facing role means you will directly interact with the client to get requirements or update update about your dashboards, like that. So if your role is of such type, you can definitely tell that it is a client facing role, which means you are talking to them every day, you are updating, you are taking requirements, you are negotiating about the design, you are giving presentations about your dashboard design, and you are taking inputs and feedbacks, and then again working. So most of the recruiters, sorry, most of the interviewers expect you to have faced clients at least once, because most of maybe in next role that we go, it might require you to face clients. So facing them will give some confidence. So that's why they expect the candidate to have faced client at least at some point of time. So I suggest you answer this question accordingly, okay, so that it can help you. So even though this question is not technical, but this question has lot of marks or weightage in deciding your candidature. Okay, so make sure you answer it accordingly. So now, what is row level security? Again, one important question here. Suppose you want to provide a security to your data. Okay, so in that kind of cases, we go for row level security. Like assume, okay, so I'm sitting in Hyderabad, and I'm creating one Tableau dashboard. But someone who is in America, or they want to see the report. I cannot create a separate report. I can share the data of America so that he can see the sales of America, and I can sit in my location and I can see the sales of only Hyderabad. So for me, the sales of America is irrelevant, because I am manager of Hyderabad, and that guy is manager of America. Okay, so that in these kind of cases we go for security. So based on the user level, we apply security to your data. So now how we can apply security? So if I go to Tableau here, so under server, you see there is an option called as create user filter. So currently it is disabled because we have not signed into server. So once you sign in, this will enable, and we can create a user filter, and we can select that particular user, and we can create a security. So this is one method of creating. And the other method is we can also do apply security using database, or we can create a table based on role, and then we can do a left join, like that also we can do. Okay, and next question is, what are the components required for map chart? Okay, so we need to have geodimensional data to create map charts. So that is something that we can answer. Okay, or which means when we use that field, it will create a latitude and longitude. So if I go to my Tableau, and if I, you see, we have, you see, globe symbol here. If you see, this indicates that this is a geodimensional data type. So whenever I use this state, it will create latitude and longitudinal information. So there are points that are getting generated, okay, because of which it is trying to create a map here. Similarly, we need to have such type of data here. That is when map charts can be created. Next question is, what are the different reports you have prepared? Again, this is very, very important, guys. Remember, it is not that every time we create same type of dashboard. Okay, so the purpose of developing a dashboard might be different. Okay, so there are some common you know dashboard names that we have, like drill down uh, sorry drill down dashboards, or scorecard dashboard scorecard dashboards, or HR dashboards. So there are like navigational dashboard, or landing page dashboard. So there are these different types of dashboard created with different purposes. So you need to know what the purpose of your dashboard is, and maybe you can add them. So I encourage you to have some of these types added in your resume as well, or in your description of your role as well, so that client can know what kind of dashboard you have created. So if it is like very generic, you don't know what is the name of the dashboard, I mean there is no specific category for your dashboard, then you can tell what kind of layout your dashboard has, like what kind of charts it has used, what is the purpose of it, what is the values it is showing. So that kind of information you can definitely show in this report thing or in your description thing. Okay, so next is how big is your team. Again, if you see, this is one common question that is being asked regularly these days. I think in our previous video also this question was asked, so I think we know how to answer this question now. Okay, so again next question was, I think she remembered till here. Last question was, what are the constraints in SQL? So constraint means basically applying some condition on the column of your table. Like say I have employee name is there, employee department number is there, and employee salary is there. So these are the different columns that we have. Now you want to apply some condition to this employee name. Assume, like what can be the constraint you want to apply. Constraint means condition. Assume, like you don't want this to be null, then you can write it as not null. Not null is the constraint. You want employee name to be distinct, then you can use primary or unique. Two constraints, you can use this type of things. Okay, so employee name you want to have as a reference column, then you can use it as a secondary key. So this kind type of constraints you can use on a specific, and one, if you're not specifying anything, then it will be by default as default. Okay, so these are different constraints that you can answer one important and interesting question in the interview. Okay, so I think that's it from my side in this video. I hope you find this video useful. If you like it, please like, share and subscribe. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye bye.